Hi, Thrivers. This new report came out today, and I think it's pretty alarming. I think surprising would be a good word too, but definitely alarming. 6 in 10 employees want a new job in 2025. 6 in 10. We're talking about 60% of the workforce is wanting a new job going into 2025. And I think what's even more surprising is that around 30% have already started looking. What does that say about the job market as it stands? Well, if 56%, almost 6 out of 10 employees are full-time employees are looking to obtain a new job, then there's a lot of discontent. And that comes down to how companies treat their employees and the value that they feel they have. The number one cited reason for why 6 out of 10 employees are looking for a new job, can you guess what that would be? You guessed it, pay, right? So low pay. But number two, I think, is a little surprising, and is that employees feel undervalued. The next in line would be burnout. They feel that their work-life balance is not there, or their workload is really high. And then limited growth opportunities in their current role. As an HR manager for a very large corporation, I can attest to these firsthand. But there are other factors, and I think going into 2025, what we're going to see is the surprising change in what the job market looks like based on the feedback that companies have been receiving about first-year attrition rate, what candidates are saying when they do their exit interviews, when they leave the company. The HR teams and leadership teams have come together to make some changes. But one thing that we're going to see going into 2025, number one is salary transparency. You can look through Google, you can look through YouTube here, and you can find anything that you want to. But what's crazy is that when so many job seekers apply for a role because it sounds like a great company, or it sounds like the job aligns with their skill sets and their experience, there is no salary listed. So how are you supposed to know as a potential candidate whether or not it's even in line with what your expectation is? Now, everybody wants, to make $1 million a year and, earn, $300 an hour. But the reality is the majority of us do not earn that kind of money. So it'd be nice if we went into a process of interviewing and of preparing ourselves and of retooling our resume to understand exactly what it is that we're getting into. A company expects its candidates to be very transparent with why they had a gap on the resume, why they left their last company that they worked for, why they didn't have a progression path in the company. Maybe they came in as a manager and they left as a manager and they made no move vertically within their career path. They want to know all these things, but they are not being transparent. Who is the insurance provider? What is the range of pay? More and more states are starting to require employers to post a salary range. The problem that I have with this as an HR manager is I understand that there is a certain number or a certain window of salary that we are hoping to hit when we have a candidate that we bring in. We know that there is a market for whatever role it is, say a project manager. And if we're going to bring a project manager in at a certain amount of pay, that certain amount of pay is based off of what the market average is. We look at the market average and we say, okay, say this market average for this job is $80,000 a year. We present the candidate with the question, what is your ideal salary range? Which is a terrible question to ask. Well, the candidate is always going to say more than they believe market value is. They're going to say, I expect $100,000 for this role. Now, the company knows, the recruiter knows, the talent acquisition person knows this person's not going to get $100,000 for this role because the company's not willing to pay it. And now, why is the company not willing to pay it? Even if they feel that it's a perfect candidate, they're not going to pay it because it's not in the budget to do so. That candidate may have to look elsewhere or may have to manage their expectations about what that looks like. Salary transparency is very important. You should just post on the ad, this pays between $70,000 and $85,000 a year. Boom, you're done. It removes the ability for the company to have to entertain candidates who may or may not be qualified or may not be willing to accept that pay. And as a candidate, it's great because okay, I need 110. I'm making 105 now at my current role. If I go to this role at 70 to 85,000, it's not enough for me. It's a great company, it's a good opportunity, but it's just not enough based on the lifestyle that I have. So salary transparency is going to be a big one. The next one's going to be the demand for soft skills. Now, look, soft skills have been something that have been in demand for many years. This has always been the thing. We really need people to understand how to manage people. Soft skills, we need them to have the ability to translate. Translation skill is an incredibly powerful and useful tool for leadership. It is your ability to translate the needs of the business and translate it into the skills of your team so that you can produce the results from a business standpoint, but you can also help manage and upskill your people so that they become more enriched and engaged in their job. So you don't have that first year attrition rate where they leave within that first year. Keep them engaged. So the demand for soft skills is really important. 79% of leaders believe that the longevity of technical skills is limited to 5 years or less, but soft skills are enduring. Soft skills means you have empathy. That means that you can sympathize. That means that you have the ability to socialize in an effective professional way. That means you understand how to read the room. That means that you have the ability to manage conflict within your team. Soft skills are incredibly important, and they always have been, but there's been more of a stress on that because as our systems and processes and technology improves, the need for humans to be more human is going to become more prevalent. The next thing that we're going to start to see in 2025 from a job trends is the increase in hybrid versus remote jobs. So as we all know, when the pandemic hit, the remote job market took off, and for obvious reasons. The problem with it is when companies started to see that the majority of workers wanted to go completely remote, they found that it was incredibly hard to keep employees engaged, to keep them accountable, and it became very challenging for businesses to understand who their stars were, who their hypos were, high potentials. It became very challenging for them. The compromise that business has come to with the workforce is to lean heavily into that hybrid role. And we're going to see where you work, say, 3 days in the office, 2 days at home. And we're going to start to see companies really lean into that. We just saw Amazon, some of their workers went up in arms about being called back into the office. And many of them have said they were going to quit, that they were going to look for other employment because coming back into the office on a full-time basis was not aligned with their personal goals or where they felt they could provide the most value to themselves based on what their expectation was for their life. And we're going to start to see the next trend in 2025 in the job market is going to be very difficult, and that is going to be the AI's impact on jobs. AI, I'm a Gen Xer, and AI has been talked about, for a long time. And what we're seeing is AI is starting to be able to function within a space where humans once before occupied. And we're starting to see a lot of admin work being done by AI. And we're starting to see AI permeate some of our ideas, our presentations, our speeches, our emails, how we respond to a problem at work, maybe something that somebody goes into Chat GPT and looks it up. Well, AI is also being leveraged by corporations themselves. I used to work for an incredibly large company that is known all throughout the world, and one of the things that they started to do was to integrate AI into some of the most simple, basic things. Some of the AI prompts on our email responses, for example, we would receive an email, and at the bottom of it, it would say, "Would you like to reply with AI?" And you would click that. It was like a clickable link at the bottom of the email, and the AI would generate a response based off of the content of the email that you received. It did all this in real time. It was a fascinating technology. It wasn't always perfect, but as we progress into 2025, we're going to start to see AI permeate business in ways we never thought possible, from sales to project management, to HR, to production lines, manufacturing, transportation. It is going to have a profound impact. There was a report that came out that 42% of tasks that are currently performed by humans can be performed and will be performed by AI by 2027. Now, I think that if you look at almost half, that's a lot. And you think, well, that's doom and gloom. AI's taken over, down with Skynet. That's not entirely true. That's not an accurate way of looking at that. What we can say is where there is new technology, there are new opportunities. So I think that with AI taking over some of those more mundane tasking that humans do now, it will open up new opportunities for humans in other areas that maybe we haven't even discovered yet. So don't be too Skynet about this, right? But what we can say is there is a real shift in how business looks and the speed in which it operates. And then what I think that the final trend of 2025, and I think this is a big one, I think we're going to see higher job movement. One of the things that we are seeing, especially in the younger millennials, Gen Z, they are prioritizing work-life balance and culture fit over company loyalty. And you can check one of my videos out here where I talk about company loyalty is a trap, and it is. Being loyal to a company doesn't mean what it used to. Tenure doesn't mean what it used to. What really matters is what your priority is. If your priority is work-life balance and the culture of the company in which you work, then you're aligned with the majority of people going into 2025 in the workforce. We're going to start to see a profound change in how companies do business, where they start to add value in other ways beyond just trying to entice their people to stay through bonuses, which are never guaranteed. A lot of companies try the tenure bonus, where if you stay 3 years, you get this amount of money, or we give you a year-over-year profit share, but it's vested after 3 years, meaning we'll give it to you in 3 years. That isn't even enough for many in the workforce, because if the average salary for a job in 2024 is 3 to 5%, going into 2025, it's going to be no different. Between 3 and 5% is an annual raise increase, where you can change your job and increase your salary 10, 20, sometimes 50%. We're going to start to see a very big shift in job movement. Millennials, Gen Z, and hopefully some of us Gen Xers, we get our butts in gear and we make the move too, because higher job movement, I believe, is a good thing, because when we see workers shift to different types of employers, different types of industries based on what's important to them, then that really sends a message. It drives it home to the corporations all around the world that workers are human beings. They are not an employee number on a budget sheet or on a P&L. They are not just an expendable, disposable entity that operates within their company's four walls. They are human beings. We are human beings, and we deserve to be treated as such. And with that, I think that we can say 2025 is going to be a very interesting year for the job market. I know in the United States of America, there's going to be a new president. There is going to be a shift in the mindset of all in the West on what it means to work and live in a society that is very pay to win, where inflation is very high. Things that were cheap are now expensive. The job market does not resemble what it did just 5 years ago. And the worker has now caught up with those changes and said, you know what? I demand to be treated like a human being. So the top 5 trends of the job market going into 2025 is going to be salary transparency, the demand for soft skills. We're going to see that push to hybrid versus remote, and I think AI is going to have a massive impact on the job market, and we're going to see higher job movement. So there you go, guys. What are your thoughts? If 6 out of 10 people are looking to change their jobs in 2025, are you one of them? Talk about it in the comments. Let me know what kind of work you're looking to get into, and if there's anything that, as an HR manager with loads of experience out here helping people find their path, let me see if I can help you. So shoot me an email, drop me a comment, and let's have a chat about it.